In this video, I'm going to go over some tips for translating words or descriptions of equations / expressions into the actual equations and expressions. So in order to do that, we need to be focused on keywords that mean certain things. So the first ones I'm going to talk about are addition. The keyword sum of means that we're going to add two things together. In this case, a number, which for all of these examples, we will just use the letter X to represent some number, and the number 7. So that translates to X plus 7. A number increased by also means addition. A number is going to be X, and we increase it by 2. 6 more than a number, another indication of addition, more than. X plus 6. A number plus 3. X plus 3. Let's move on to subtraction. Subtraction can be a little bit more confusing. And there's an important thing that we need to learn about the word than. 5 less than a number. Than is often referred to as a switch word. Means that the two values that were given, a number and 5, should be switched. So 5 less than a number turns into X minus 5. Notice how 5 was at the beginning of the statement and it ended up being subtracted. The difference of 8 and a number. We're going to take these in order. That's going to be 8 minus the number X. 8 minus X. A number less 3. X minus 3. The difference of a number and 2. Notice that this is very similar to the second statement up here, but in this case, a number comes before the value of 2. So in this case, the X is going to come first. We're going to take these in order. The difference of X and 2. X minus 2. Moving on to multiplication. 4 times a number. That's pretty easy. 4x. Twice a number or double a number would be the same thing. 2 times x. Twice or double just means multiply by 2. The product of 7 and a number. That's just 7x. That just means multiplication. 3/4 of a number. Now, of is another code word that you can look for that often means multiplication. So in this case, 3/4 times a number. 3/4 x. Half a number. Half means to multiply by 1/2. 1/2 x. Moving on to division. The quotient of a number and 4. Quotient is a strange word, but it just means that we're going to take the number and we're going to divide it by 4. The first thing goes on the top of a fraction. The second thing goes on the bottom. So that becomes x divided by 4 or x over 4. Half a number. Now we already reviewed half of a number in multiplication, but we can also think of this as division. X divided by 2. 1/2 x and x divided by 2 are exactly the same thing. 1/3 of a number, x divided by 3. All right, there's a few more combinations I want to talk about before we get to example problems. 4 times a number is 16. In this case, I have the word is highlighted because it stands for the equal sign. So everything to the left of the word is going to be on the left side of the equation, and everything to the right of the word is going to be on the right side. So that turns into 4x equals 16. Finding the is and breaking it up into 2 parts can be very helpful. The sum of 2 times a number and 6 is equal to 4 times the number. Equal to also stands for the equal sign, So we're going to break this up into the left side and the right side. The left side says we're going to add 2 times a number and 6. The right side says 4 times a number. So that becomes 2x plus 6. We're summing 2 times the number and 6, and we're setting it equal to 4 times the number. The difference of 1/2 a number and 3 is 10. So in this case, we're taking the difference of 2 things. Whenever we take the difference, we have to set it up as 2 things that are being subtracted. In this case, 1/2 of the number and 3. And then that's going to be equal to 10. So that looks like 1/2 x minus 3 equals 10. 3 times the sum of twice a number and 9. This is where these start to feel very complicated. What's important about this is that we are going to take 3 times the sum of something. So we need to think about doing this sum first and then multiplying it by 3. So the sum of twice a number and 9 is going to be 2x plus 9. But then we want to multiply that whole thing by 3. So let me clear that off, and hopefully that's what we get. 3 times, and then in parentheses, saying we better do that first, 2x plus 9. That's what we get for that one. Now, I know that I've gone through this very quickly, but you can always go back and watch it again, pause as need be, and make sure that each one of these examples makes sense to you. Last one I have here, the sum of a number and another number. What do we do then? Well, if we're going to call the first variable x, let's call the second variable y. That would just be x plus y. All right, let's move on to some examples here. The sum of 1/3 of a number and 5. So whenever I see the sum of, I want to, I made a mistake there. I want to set this up as the sum of 2 things. So I'm just putting 2 parentheses and I'm adding them together. And then I have the is statement here that's going to be equal to something. And the thing it's going to be equal to is just 8. So I've kind of sketched out what I need here. Let's look at what I'm taking the sum of. 1/3 of a number. In order to figure these out, you have to kind of break it down one piece at a time. 1/3 of a number and 5. So I'm just adding 5 to that. Now at this point, I can drop those parentheses and just write 1/3 x plus 5 equals 8. And we're done with that one. Moving on to number 2, the difference of. That kind of works the same way as sum. That's why I included these examples. We are going to subtract 2 things. I'm not going to worry about what that is yet. I'm going to keep going. Is, here's our equal sign, is equal to 5 more than 3 times the number. So I'm going to add 5 to 3 times the number, 3x. That makes sense to me. 5 more than 3 times the number. Keep working that through in your head to make sure that it makes sense to you. Now let's go back to the beginning. The difference of 9. When we use the difference of, we want to take them in order. So the 9 is going to come first, and 2 times a number. That's going to be 2x. Now notice in this case, we're talking about a number, and this says the number. So we're only talking about one variable here. We don't have to worry about introducing a y. 9 minus 2x, I'm just dropping the parentheses. And that's what we get. 9 minus 2x equals 3x plus 5. Let's move on to our last example problem. 5 times the sum of 3 times a number and 6. So I can see here that I'm going to be multiplying the sum of something by 5. So I could start out by writing that like this. I'm going to multiply 5 by the sum of two things. What are those two things? 3 times a number, 3x, and the number 6. So now I can drop some of those parentheses. Let me actually erase them. I can erase that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. And then I get my answer. Let me just rewrite it to make it a little bit better. 5 times 3x plus 6. And when you get your answers to these kind of problems, go back and reread the statement and make sure that it agrees with what you came up with or the answer that you selected from multiple choice. And often that will help confirm that you've either made the right choice or the incorrect choice. All right, that wraps up this video. Good luck with your practice.